This is the way it feels to move through summer in Lululemon. Iconic Align softness without the front seam. For our smoothest look and feel ever. Summer won't know what hit it. Stretch your limits in the non-stop flexibility of the new Lululemon Align No-Line Pant in select stores and at Lululemon.com.
With a Venmo debit card, you can Venmo more than just your friends. You can use your balance in so many ways. You can Venmo everything. Need gas? You can Venmo this. How about snacks? You can Venmo that. Your favorite band's merch? You can Venmo this. Or their next show? You can Venmo that. Visit Venmo.me/debit to learn more.
You can Venmo this, or you can Venmo that. You can Venmo this, or you can Venmo that. You can Venmo.
The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. pursuant to license by MasterCard International Incorporated. Card may be used everywhere MasterCard is accepted. Venmo purchase restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Knowing you could be saving money for the things you really want, like that dream house or ride, is a great feeling. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you save when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Live, Laugh, Larceny discusses true petty crimes that may be disturbing to some.
Or could be easy listening to all you psychopaths out there.
All stories are based on actual events, but details may vary.
Listener discretion is not advised.
Live,
Laugh.
Larceny. Welcome to Live, Laugh, Larceny, brought to you by Baby's First Ponzi Scheme. Invest in your future. This is Trevin.
And I'm Amanda. I am sucked into that Ponzi scheme twice.
Damn, I mean, they're so cute.
Gets me every time, but Trevin,
Yeah.
what is your dreadful dilemma this week?
So my dreadful dilemma this week is going to come with a little bit of honesty, a little bit of a mental health update.
Okay.
So we took last week off.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Black eyes be black eyeing, birthdays be birthdaying, weddings be wedding.
Wedding. As much as wedding be happening, I also just really needed a mental health break. You know, I just wanted to let people know that you're not alone. Sometimes we may feel like we're the only people who are struggling or going through these kinds of situations. This has just been a tough year for everybody. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest, sometimes I'm just like, what's the point in coming out here and being silly, you know?
Yeah.
And the world's being so not silly.
Right.
And I think part of my empathetic gift to the world is I just like to try to make people's days better.
Totally.
Like making people happy just makes me feel happy and gives me a reason for being. But at the same time, it can be hard coming out here every week and being funny and silly when, gosh, I mean, we have a different emergency going on every few weeks.
Yeah.
We've taken a couple different weeks off over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they tell us in the independent podcast world, like, oh, you should never take a week off. You should always just keep going. And for a person like me who likes to read up on all the best practices, because I'm just trying to raise my chances of making this something, to prove you're driven and prove to yourself, you kind of take those things and you run with it.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot harder to push myself to those points this year when there's just so much outside noise coming in too. Mm-hmm. And I'm learning personally how to do better about just the way I handle my work and the way I handle stuff like that. But the world, on top of everything else, has just made everything exponentially harder. And I just want you all to know that you're not alone. And even though we come out here and we share, I mean, definitely like observational, like real silly situations that we all go through, mm-hmm. you know, we're all going through the heavy stuff too and watching how that affects other people.
Yeah. Just hang in there, guys.
Yeah. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you for allowing us to take breaks. I mean, we're only humans. We've been doing this for 4 years.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember, too, that for so long, we never took a break, Trevin. ever.
I don't know how we did a lot of what we did.
So the fact that there might be more breaks this year than previous years, it's almost like we needed those breaks all along and they just needed to happen now.
Yeah, and I'm taking a vacation in July. I'm going to try to work ahead and make it happen, but we'll see what happens. We might have another week off next month too.
And, you know, luckily we have so many episodes at this point, guys. If you really need a quick fix, you could listen to an oldie. I know it's not always the best, and it's nice to keep current. And we appreciate those that genuinely look forward to a new episode each and every week where we bear it all and, you know, talk about our personal lives, do a segment, do a story. But yeah, sometimes it's just not always going to happen like that. And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I still don't know about it.
I'm
But
still learning.
well, Trevin, that's dreadful, my dude. I have a less heavy, but probably an extremely relatable, dreadful dilemma. And it has to do with summertime also.
Oh, it is hot.
It's hot. I don't know what the weather is like wherever you are listening. Hopefully it is not as hot as it is right here in Kansas City, Missouri.
It's just
My
so
God.
muggy always. Ugh.
Like, I don't even know how the UVs become so powerful, okay? So anyway, it was a hot day on Saturday, and Jordan and I, he's been working a lot of like evening shifts, and he's worked a lot of weekends, and then we've had like a lot of events, just birthdays and moving and everything.
Oh, yeah, a lot of life events.
A lot of life. So it was finally a Saturday afternoon where we didn't have anything going on, and we're like, let's take the kids to the pool. It's a hot day. And where we moved, there's like, I'm not going to say the name, guys, because I'm about to talk some shit. But there's an aquatic center nearby, and we've been there before in the past, and it's been an amazing experience. They have so much variety for older kids, younger kids, adults, everyone of all ages. There's lazy river, kids water playground, all the things, okay? But anyway, we saw that they opened at noon, and we're like, all right, we will be ready at noon. And we actually were. Somehow we were completely lotioned, sunscreen, you know, everyone had sunglasses, everyone had a swimsuit and a cover up and all the things. And we piled in there and we drove over, and Trevin, when I tell you, there was a line of somewhere between 80 to 100 people.
Oh, my God.
I'm not even exaggerating, and I'm really bad at math, but I'm pretty sure this is accurate. But
It's probably like 40.
but the line was so damn long that we all kind of looked at each other like, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Like, literally, we all locked eyes, and we kind of all agreed, okay, maybe it'll go fast. Summer has just started. It just opened. Like, I'm sure it'll be fine. No, spoiler alert, didn't go fast. I swear to God. And it was in like the beaming sun, not a single shade tree nearby. Everyone just standing there on the hot cement waiting in this long ass line.
Oh, God.
I think it probably took us a good 45 minutes just to get through the line.
How are the girls at this point?
Well, we didn't even make it probably half of that time. What we ended up doing, and this is a pro tip, okay, for anyone who has a partner there and they're willing to stay out in the sun, but maybe you and your kids don't fucking wanna. We just went over to a shaded bench like nearby the walls of the place, and we just waited there, and he had a big old hat on, so he didn't really care. He works outside.
A big white woman hat?
Yeah, exactly. He had one of those.
And his moo-moo?
Yep, in his moo-moo. Ready in his Ninja Turtles glasses. And he saved our spot in line, got us the tickets, and we just went in with him.
Damn.
It was so slow moving. And then to top it off, that's not my only complaint. I wish I could say we went in and it was smooth sailing, but no. One of our favorite places is the lazy river. I love a lazy river.
Back when I swam in public, I loved it too. Oh.
Lazy rivers are just so special. You can be lazy. You can be a little more active if you want. Like, there's so much room to choose. It's a place of dignity and respect. It's a place where you can just like bake in the sun and enjoy the day. That's my thought. Okay. However, this place only had like I shit you not, maybe 10 floaties for all these people. Like hundreds of people waiting to come in, and it's like 10 floaties. That was horrible. We finally got one and it was fine, but everyone was almost like willing to like give their firstborn for like a floaty. Like, are you done with that floaty? Like everyone was so desperate.
You don't have your own floaty that you bring with you?
But they're like the big like figure 8 floaties where like 2 people and you're like on a boat together
that's kinda
going down
fun.
the stream. So it's like you want one of those big ones, you know?
Okay.
And then also, and this was the grossest part, we almost went over to like the lap pool where they have the diving boards just to practice swimming with the girls. But I quickly decided against it because there was hair and vomit in the water.
Hair and vomit in the water.
Trevin. This whole experience, I think, cost us $50. Waited in line for 45 minutes and had all these issues. Can you even believe?
And all these stories that you're going to remember forever.
Forever. I'm haunted. I don't even know if I want to return there. It was such a bad experience, but because we were there and because we were square, no, I'm just kidding, because we paid and we waited, we did make the most of it. I will say the kids' playground area with the shallow water and buckets that pour in slides and stuff, that was fun. But actually, now that I think of it, Trevin, this will be my last thing I say on the matter. I did get lectured by a lifeguard, even in the children's play area, because I went down one of the slides with Winnie.
No parents allowed?
No parents allowed.
Damn. Bet that made you feel old.
Made me feel very old, and I even had space buns in my hair, and I still felt like a grandma. The whole thing, Trevin, it just wasn't the perfect pool day that I wanted. We still had fun, but I don't think I could go back there.
I still applaud you for trying to make the best of it and still pushing forward. I know these days happen, but I guess that's just the life of a parent sometimes.
You win some, you lose some.
Things aren't going to go how you want them to.
So, Trevin, today we're going to be sharing some killer facts.
Hello? We've traced the facts. They're coming from inside the house.
So because of my new job that I've acquired and because we've made jokes about having a friend in the diamond business, I decided to share my killer fact today, which is the curse of the Hope Diamond.
I've heard of this title, but I don't know anything about it.
Okay, so a lot of people actually believe that the big ass diamond blue necklace on the movie Titanic was actually based off of this piece of jewelry. It has a similar color. It's blue, it's big, it's a necklace, it's a diamond.
But it wasn't called the Hope Diamond in Titanic.
No, in Titanic it was called...
Was it like the Heart of the Sea or something?
Yes, it was called the Heart of the Ocean. Yes. And it's a fictional blue diamond necklace, but it is inspired by the 45.52 carat Hope diamond. Okay. So here's a photo of it. It is just a gigantic blue rock with little white diamonds, or maybe they're gold diamonds around it. It's hard to tell in this picture, but it's gigantic. Okay. The origin of the diamond. It is an antique cushion cut stone. It comes from India. And the origin of it, you know how things kind of gain that lore to them, as most things do.
Mysteriously, and people start filling in with exciting stuff.
The curse is kind of not a fun thing, but it kind of builds the lore to it. Like, yeah, it just might be that the people who own this had really bad life circumstances, but there's a lot of them. And I think that's why that this story has remained. Its earliest recorded history begins in 1666.
Whoa.
Wild.
But a timeless look, because you could wear that today, and I'd still say stunning.
That is a damn good point. When people say diamonds are forever, man.
Oh, yeah.
They don't go out of style.
Wow.
A French gem merchant, Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, purchased the gem in India in an uncut form. After cutting the gem and renaming it the French Blue, he sold it to King Louis XIV of France in 1668. It was stolen in 1792, received and recut with the largest section of the diamond, and it was given the Hope name in 1839. And I'm coming from the Wikipedia page. This has amazing information. There was a New York Times article in 1911 about this piece of jewelry, and it gave a list of supposed cases of ill fortune from certain people who owned it. So I'm just going to kind of go through some people.
Okay.
Jacques Collet bought the Hope Diamond from Simon Frankel and ended up dying from suicide. Prince Ivan Kanevsky bought it from Collet, but was killed by Russian revolutionaries. Kevin Konsky loaned it to Mill Laud, who was murdered by her sweetheart. Simon Mensherides, who had once sold it to the Turkish Sultan, was thrown from a precipice along with his wife and young child.
That's some real bad fortune.
The list just keeps going on and on and on. People have been hanged. People have been stoned. People have been executed. Apparently, a couple of the King Louis owned it, and also Marie Antoinette. So a lot of like historical figures owned it and had tragic ends.
Whoa.
And now the Hope Diamond is currently on display at the Smithsonian's National Museum of Natural History in Washington, D.C. So you can go and see it, and it's probably for the best that it isn't owned by a private owner any longer.
Probably not, but how lucky is the Smithsonian right now?
I know, like, Smithsonian, watch your damn back.
I really thought as a kid, after all the cartoons I watched in the 90s, I thought that curses was going to be a lot more of a problem for me as an adult.
That's true.
I watched so much Garfield, and there was like the Clockman diamond or whatever they talked about, and they were like, oh, that's a cursed diamond. And I heard about like King Tut's curse. That was the shit that I loved, like the unsolved mystery stuff as a kid. So I really just thought you might just stumble upon a curse at any moment.
It's not too late.
It's not too late, but I feel like they fell out of style. Like, what happened to curses?
Maybe because the museums just bought up all the curse pieces.
Oh, the 1% took them all, so now there's no curses for all of us people down here.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring me back my curses.
I know, like, where's the adventure in life? Before I even found this exact one, I wasn't like, I have to talk about the Hope Diamond, even though I'd heard about it. I just looked up most haunted pieces of jewelry, and that was the one that just kept coming up. But there are multiple ones. I went through a list of them and was like, ooh, that could be fun. Ooh, but this one, it's the most well-known. People know it because of the Titanic and how they tied that together. And yeah, it's cursed, though. Watch out.
Well, it's important for you to know everything you can about these diamonds.
Really and truly.
Well, that was very intriguing.
Thank
and
you.
I won't be buying any diamonds anytime soon. So I guess that's not really good for your commission. But
Yeah, thanks a lot.
so in the tradition of the holiday that's actually going to be coming up,
Yes.
I wanted to do a loose connection between my stories and my stuff. My dreadful dilemma just had to do with America.
Yeah.
And we'll be celebrating, or some people will be celebrating that here in just a couple days.
Yes.
So I thought for my killer fact, I would teach you about a very important American and the lengths they went to try to figure out the cause of yellow fever.
Oh, snap.
So Stubbins Ffirth, which is not a good name.
Wait, say the name one more time. Stubborn?
Stubbins.
Stubbins?
That's something I would call Mabel.
Wow.
Stubbins Ffirth. And I'm just going to come from his Wikipedia too, because honestly, after I heard about this, I just had to talk about it.
Yeah.
The 1793 yellow fever epidemic, the largest outbreak of the disease in American history, killed as many as 5,000 people in Philadelphia, roughly 10% of the population. Ffirth joined the University of Pennsylvania in 1801 to study medicine, and in his third year, he began researching the disease that had so significantly impacted the area. At the time, the cause of yellow fever were unknown, and Ffirth set out to prove that it was not contagious. He was so sure of his theory that he began to perform experiments on himself.
Uh-oh. That usually doesn't end well.
At least it's not on other people.
That's true.
Trigger warning for anybody, this is going to be gross. Ffirth chose to bring himself into direct contact with bodily fluids from people that had become infected with yellow fever. He started by making incisions on his arms and smearing infected vomit into the cuts. Then he proceeded to pour it into his eyeballs. He continued in his attempts to infect himself by frying the vomit and inhaling the fumes. And finally, when he did not become ill, he resorted to drinking the vomit undiluted.
Okay.
Endeavoring to prove that other bodily fluids yielded the same results, Ffirth progressed on from vomit, also smearing his body with blood, saliva, and urine.
Stop the madness, Ffirth.
He still failed to contract the disease and saw this as proof of his hypothesis that yellow fever was not contagious. However, it later emerged that samples used by Ffirth for his experiments had come from late-stage patients who were no longer contaminated with the virus.
You're telling me he did all of that and it wasn't even viable puke?
It wasn't viable, and it wasn't until 6 decades after his death that a breakthrough was made with Cuban scientist Carlos Finlay discovering the link to mosquitoes carrying the disease. So this little weirdo is out here like, people are dying and I need to eat vomit for science. Like, nobody's asking you to do this, Stubbins.
He fried it and inhaled it.
I think this is the grossest guy in history.
I'm sorry, my dude. I'm all for scientific advancement, and clearly there's a lot of really weird illnesses that have come up over history that have really, fucked up humankind as we know it.
Yes.
So, like, in that aspect, I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But can you imagine reading this guy's, like, he probably wrote it with, like, a quail pen and, like, all cursive, and he's like, I baked and fried and inhaled the vomit, and then I drank it right up.
I'm practically feeling the yellow fever coming upon me now. Nope, I'm just nasty.
No.
I mean, I get it. Everybody who's trying to blaze a trail and try to be the first of anything is going to be looked upon like they're crazy, People look at us and said, nobody wants a petty crime podcast where you take dumb crimes and make them sound like they're serious.
They sure did, Trevin.
And they're right. Nobody does. I still have a job. But
you were killing me today.
The same thing happened with this guy, too. He thought, they told me not to bathe in urine and smear blood all over my body and my eyeballs.
My eyeballs, my mouth, and my cuts like a psycho.
But the whole time he was probably just laughing at them. He's like, I'll have the last laugh when this proves something. You guys will name this all after me.
And now look who's laughing. You and I on the mic.
He was the guy who died just being the guy who did weird stuff.
Wow. You win some, you lose some, like we said,
Yeah. So with my theme of America and the way I want to cover it, he is the special American that I choose to spotlight on this 4th of July.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm not going to feature any more weird people of history, but I am going to feature some ads real quick.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
At Capella University, learning online doesn't mean learning alone. You'll get support from people who care about your success. Like your enrollment counselor, who gets to know you and the goals you'd like to achieve. You'll also get a designated academic coach who's with you throughout your entire program. Plus, career coaches are available to help you navigate your professional goals. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
You know that one friend who somehow knows everything about money? Yeah, now imagine they live in your phone. Say hey to Experian, your big financial friend. It's the app that helps you check your FICO score, find ways to save, and basically feel like a financial genius. And guess what? It's totally free. So go on, download the Experian app. Trust me, having a BFF like this is a total game changer.
Well, welcome back. Hopefully, it can only become less gross from here, okay?
I hope so.
We can only hope and dream. So, Trevin, I also went with a 4th of July theme. I know not all of our listeners are here in America. Probably good for you.
Yeah.
But the 4th of July is a holiday that both you and I have experienced our whole lives, and it's upon us. It's happening in a few days, and I had to tell a story that was related. Now, I don't know about you, but I looked through all of my emails of my stories that I've emailed to myself. I've never covered a 4th of July story, I don't think, in all these 4 years.
Damn, I feel like you have, but maybe you haven't.
Because I know that I've talked about gender reveals exploding and like that kind of sounds. And I know I told everyone about the personal story of banging people while the fireworks were going outside my cousin's house. And we all just stood around and watched the fireworks and people having sex. But I don't know if I've told a story. Have I? Or have you?
So my blue mustache story was a 4th of July story.
That's true.
Which did have like fireworks in it.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel like we don't do a lot of 4th of July type stuff. I just don't have to do a lot of fireworks sound effects is what I'm trying to think back on for me.
Well, I hate to break it to you. This story of mine will definitely have a lot of that. So this is a story from the news. This took place this year, just a couple months ago. So very recent, but it's something that has gone on for quite a while. And this week I decided to focus more on one of the victims that was actually interviewed on the news instead of the perpetrators. And I'll explain why later. But here we go. When I think of fireworks, my mind is ablaze with fond memories. I remember 4th of July cookouts filled with grilled food, summer heat, and illegal bottle rockets. As the nights grew darker, the sky was filled with big booms and colorful bursts. But my visions go far beyond that singular destructive American holiday.
Will it revert, Terry? Oh, Lord!
Fireworks remind me of perfectly timed romantic dates on reality dating shows. Will you accept my final rose?
Of course, baby. You light up my life.
And I don't think I'll ever be able to shake the image of Katy Perry shooting sparklers from her large bosoms.
Baby, you're a firework!
These cute explosives are used to celebrate birthdays, weddings, and many of life's major milestones.
Congrats on passing your kidney stones, honey!
Yet for one city in Southern California, fireworks would become their biggest nightmare. Lily Chang lived in the Plum Canyon neighborhood in Santa Clarita, California, for a few years and enjoyed it. The area was a cozy suburb north of the traffic jams and chaos of LA. Most of Lily's days were spent watering her plants on her patio, reading a good book, and cuddling with her cat, named Cuddles. It was a peaceful and calm environment. That is, until things began to pop off. Everything started out innocently enough, with a few neighborhood kids lighting smoke bombs and shooting off parachute rockets long after the 4th of July had passed. But the tiny tanks and pooping poppers shot off during the daytime only escalated more and more with each sunset. Countless evenings were tarnished by the jarring booms occurring just outside of Lily's home. One night, while she sat in the bathtub reading her newest book, an array of whizzing and crackling erupted, causing her to drop her precious reading material deep into her bath suds. Another time, in the dead of night, massive shells and mortars blasted loudly nearby, causing Lily's walls to shake. It frightened her cat Cuddles so badly, she started sleeping underneath the bed. It wasn't only Lily and Cuddles that were terrorized by the fireworks. Their entire neighborhood had been impacted. The local police station was being flooded with calls of complaints regarding the disruptions, each caller explaining their own horrible experience.
Hello? I'd I'd like to make a formal complaint about a loud firework last night. The detonation was so scary. I accidentally farted in front of my boyfriend for the first time.
I take my hearing aids out at night and I can still hear the explosions.
Forget my pets and kids. These unexpected fireworks have me scared shitless.
Regardless of the many reports, the nightly disruptions continued, building up to the biggest blast of all, occurring on April 28th of 2025. Lily had eventually convinced Cuddles the cat to join her back in bed, cuddling as they should. Her cat purred as Lily turned the pages of her now dry book that she fished out of her bathwater. Just as she was about to read the last sentence of her final chapter, an ear-splitting blast clamored through her once peaceful backyard and throughout the entire sleepy community, leaving behind only the remnants of a burned-up nearby tree. The ruckus left residents permanently shook up, prompting most of them to gather at the May 7th City Council meeting to share in their frustrations. Settle down now! The City Council meeting is now in session. The floor is now officially open for any public complaints, a councilwoman announced to the jam-packed local government building. Soon after, an anxious man stood up to make his voice known.
We've got to talk about these fireworks. I'm not talking about smoke bombs and piccolo Petes. I'm talking about mortars that are launched off at 1 a.m. The explosions are loud enough to wake up the entire community.
Yeah!
He's right. Preach.
The angry crowd loudly agreed with the man, causing the councilwoman to bang her cheap gavel on the folding table she sat behind.
Quiet, everyone! We have heard your complaints loud and clear, almost as loudly as the illegal explosives disrupting our city. We will catch this petty pyromaniac and will extinguish any further outbursts.
For years, the quiet community of Plum Canyon in Santa Clarita, California, was rocked by a slew of aggressive fireworks and explosions at night. Lily Chang was one of the residents startled repeatedly by the blast and started documenting the frequency of events. Over the years, her security cameras captured nearly 100 instances of people setting off illegal fireworks at all hours of the night. She was quoted explaining,
"They would shoot off between 5 to 20 at a time. We've seen them during the daytime and as late as 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning."
But when things escalated on April 28th of 2025, after an enormous explosion woke many in the community and started a small brush fire that was put out, Lily was quoted again on this particular instance, saying,
"So that's how I got to meet my neighbor James for the first time, on April 28th. Then I found out there was another neighbor that was really concerned, just as me. So we kind of got together because I mentioned to them, I have tons of footage."
This scare prompted residents in the neighborhood to attend a city council meeting on May 7th, 2025, to voice their frustrations over the explosions. Although they agreed that fireworks have been an issue in that area for the past several years, members complained that last month, the perpetrators went too far. The neighbors said they have called 911 dozens of times over the last 5 years because of the fireworks, but have not seen any action from law enforcement. Until recently. Luckily for the community, later that same month, 2 teen boys, one 17 and the other 18 years old, were taken into custody and arrested on suspicion of arson. The older culprit even went door to door, passing out apology letters for his behavior. According to the records, the 17-year-old was released on citation to his parents and is pending a court date, while the 18-year-old male was also arrested, transported to the SCV Station Jail, and was being held on a $75,000 bail. No final punishments were listed online. Since then, local residents have met with the mayor and have noticed more patrols in their area. However, with the dry summer season only heating up, they continue to stay vigilant. They hope that with the recent arrest, their area will stay safe and that no one else blows things out of proportion. Whether fireworks remind you of the holidays, The Bachelor, or Katy Perry's Knockers, I hope you all remember to stay safe out there. Just because these explosions appear cute and innocent doesn't mean they aren't dangerous. Have fun and explode things responsibly so that you don't go out with a bang.
Okay, how long did you say this went on for?
Years, my dude, years.
So these boys have been doing it since they were like 15 or 14 or whatever?
So I don't know. It could be them. It could be a variety of other teens in the area, is what the articles were saying. And I could have gone into further detail about what this kid's apology letter was, because on one of the videos, I actually paused it and was able to read his apology letter. But in it, it had said in his defense that, like, oh, this was just me doing it this one time. I didn't know there were all these problems in the past, but I don't buy it. And a lot of the community people didn't buy his apology.
Well, they're out for blood for anybody that they can blame it on.
Yes. Maybe it was these two teens, and I do have the name of the 18-year-old, but they barely talked about him in any articles. It was mainly about the residents talking, so I just chose to keep his name out of it. He's an 18-year-old. I still don't know if he really was responsible for years of damage or if he just did like the final gigantic one that happened on April 28th, which, you guys, I've seen the video and it is massive. It's like a gigantic mortar explosion, lights some brush on fire, which, before I even get further into this, I just want to say, I hope that people don't take it that I'm making light of like wildfires, especially in California. We know the devastation. The Palisades fire was horrible. It is something that should be taken super seriously, especially in the dry months.
Yeah.
And in residential areas, like, it's not a damn joke. So I get why the residents were so heated, but also I'm trying to do a comedy story about it. And it is kind of funny to just like think of the different ways people were interrupted in their homes each night.
And for it to go on that long.
For it to go on this long and nobody heard their complaints for years. And then they finally found this kid and they're hoping that because these two teens were arrested and everything, maybe no one else will do it. But it's like a popping, pun intended, spot. People are constantly lighting off the fireworks in this neighborhood, and they gots to stop.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a movement. Some jackass did it for a while until it was like a running joke, and then everybody just like everybody's Ghostface killer, you know?
Exactly.
I just have a hard time believing that these kids have been behind it for years and years.
Yeah. I feel like it was probably a much wider range of kids, but it's probably just a popular spot that people have been lighting fireworks off for years, and they thought, why can't I join in on the fun? And maybe they had done some of the more recent ones. I just don't think they did this gigantic explosion as their very first one ever. I have a hard time believing that. My mom alarm is sounding. I'm like, no, they built up to this gigantic one. They've been doing this for a minute.
Now you're making me think there's a secret society of underground kids that are each taking turns doing it.
Maybe. I really don't know, but I want to make it clear. I know that this is a serious thing. I know it can cause wildfires, especially out there, but also it is a little fucking ridiculous that this has been going on, not just during the 4th of July. This arrest happened and the big explosion happened April and then the arrest in May. Like, there's just fireworks constantly out here and it's really weird.
I just can't get over it for how long it's been going on. Whether it's all different people or the same person, like they just keep making the same effort to make the same joke.
Yeah.
Doesn't that get old after a little bit? Emily and I have this little thing we say to each other. First time's funny, second time silly, third time's a spanking.
Ooh, I'm going to start using that.
And I'm just saying they went way past the spanking quota because it's just not funny anymore. Like your crowd that thought that was silly is so far gone.
Literally. I probably should have written this in there too. In the video of this gigantic one, after the big gigantic boom, there's like this kid who we now know is responsible for this one. He's out there and he's like, woo! And it's like, guys, enough is enough. And there is ring footage of this kid bringing the apology letters, and Lily Cheng was like, little too late for that. Like, she was pissed. Everyone's so pissed. So, guys, just leave their neighborhood alone, okay?
That's years of resentment built up.
The spirit of innovation is deeply ingrained in America, and Google is helping Americans innovate in ways both big and small. Central Texas Regional Mobility Authority is using Google AI to create smarter tolling systems and improve traffic flow for Texans. This is a new era of American innovation. Find out more at g.co/American innovation.
Psst, your payments are showing. But with Apple Cash, your payments are private by design. There are no public feeds, awkward reactions, or unnecessary payment drama. Apple Cash lets you send cash and messages right in the conversations you're already having. Or, with Tap to Cash, pay someone next to you without looking up a username or scanning a QR code. Just hold your iPhone near someone else's to send. Switch to Apple Cash and start sending privately. Apple Cash services are provided by Green Dot Bank, member FDIC.
Your burger is served, and this is our finest Pepsi Zero Sugar. Its sweet profile perfectly balances the savory notes of your burger.
That is one perfect combination. Burgers deserve Pepsi.
Well, this week, I have a story that completes my America theme.
Huh.
And I already know what our connection is going to be.
Okay.
But it's not just that it's a 4th of July story.
Good.
And as yours is recent, mine literally happened 4 days from the day we're recording this.
Holy crap.
I was so inspired, I had to jump on this bad boy. I already had a story written for this week that I had to hold till next week. And it's a good one, too.
I was wondering, because, you've sent me multiple criminals.
Mm-hmm.
Aha.
So I'm going to be covering this holiday of celebration in my own little way. Kind of like my election episode. There might be a little bit of political discussion. If you're not into that thing, I totally get it. But sometimes Daddy's got to express himself.
Well, watch out, Daddy.
So let's not leave America waiting. And here we go. Welcome to the divided states of America. It's been a while since we checked in with the old girl, hasn't it? Sure, most of my stories can be traced back to the ways this country has failed us, but I haven't spoken directly about it since the stolen election story I covered last November. Gee, I wonder why. After that episode aired, I mostly felt embarrassed. I felt stupid. The underlying hope in my message was stomped out almost immediately by the perception that I was in the minority. All I wanted to do was hide from my miscalculation, but deep down, I still hoped I was wrong. Fast forward to now, and I think I had every reason to feel that way. My brain was scrambled with conflicting information. Was I swept up in the game of politics? Were my emotions reacting to an unseen exchange of power? Could it really be that bad if things went the wrong way? I survived his first term, and it only ended in a plague that killed my grandma. But from day one, I knew this was different. As I tried to reckon with the fact that I was outnumbered in a world that had chosen cruelty, I watched the culture shift like a light switch flipping off. We were no longer fellow Americans. Even our new president made that clear. His speeches, his tweets, they weren't for everyone. They were aimed squarely at one group. Everyone else, the enemy. And unlike the wealth we were promised in the 80s, that hate actually trickled down. It seeped into our relationships, our workplaces, our families. And as the net of topics that became political widened, each new daily national emergency just pulled us further from the people we loved. So who's ready to laugh? Today's petty crime story comes to you straight from the heart of America. Today's America. And if none of what I've just talked about makes you want to scream into the void, then congratulations. You might just be numb enough to survive it. A family dinner with clashing political opinions. A time where small talk fills big voids, and unspoken resentment is deafening.
You fucking idiot! How did I learn my values from you?
For Brianna, this was her evening, and while the meal was free and delicious, the conversation was a bit harder to swallow.
I'm glad you could finally make it to a family dinner, Brianna, her father said, because I've got some exciting news to share.
Brianna turned to him with the kind of exhausted expression that only years of familial disappointment could carve. It was a tone-setting remark, just the first of what would surely be many backhanded nods to her existence. The rest of the family looked toward the patriarch at the head of the table.
Thanks to the newest round of tariffs, more and more people are becoming unhoused, and my line of sorry you lost your home cards have been flying off the shelves.
He chuckled, oblivious to his own villain origin story.
Apparently, people would rather spend money on optics than vote in the interest of their friends and neighbors. Anyway, I'm filthy rich. With my bonus, I had your mother cook us some Wagyu steaks. I walked into the butcher shop I've never been in and said, "Give me the steak a wealthy guy eats." He pointed me to the Wagyu. So think about the price tag while you're chewing on that.
Brianna swallowed her steak, suddenly tasting more blood in it than that of the cows. She focused on how blissfully unaware her father was being. So much so, she didn't realize she had already opened her mouth.
But we can agree that tariffs are bad, right?
Every member of Brianna's family dropped their forks in eerie unison, like some synchronized utensil routine reserved for moments of moral treason. Her father's lifted ears sank, along with his smile.
Are you still hung up over Kamala not winning? You remember her cackle, right? We'd be way worse off right now.
The tension broke, not in a comforting way, but with the kind of laughter that made Brianna's stomach tighten. Her mother and brothers chimed in.
That's a great point, Dad. None of this could have been avoided.
At least I'm losing my health care to a man and not some cackling woman.
Brianna felt the last flicker of engagement extinguish, outnumbered 4-1. She knew anything she said would just dig her deeper. The urge to connect gave way to survival mode. If she wanted to salvage anything from this dinner, she needed to steer conversation elsewhere.
I noticed you grew your hair out, Dad. It looks nice.
Thanks. After I saw how cool Ted Cruz's beard looked, I knew I had to have one.
After a few awkward Midwestern goodbyes, Brianna returned home and collapsed into the comfort of her one-bedroom sanctuary, a space of acceptance, solitude, and zero Fox News in the background. She sprawled out on the couch, drained from the familial socializing. With what remained of her evening, it was time to relax with a combination of her two favorite comfort activities, online shopping and drugs. From her tote bag, she pulled out a generic baggie of illicit substances, label-free, just vibes, and sparked her lighter. She inhaled the mystery bowl, ready to forget the horrors of 2025, or at least soften the edges. Then she opened the Temu app. It was her favorite place to shop for clothes made at a fraction of the quality, for a fraction of the cost. She loved the way her stiff, mostly plastic pants had no stretch and shaped her ass like SpongeBob. With each scroll, she was shown a whole new world of bottom-tier fashion. Knock-off Chucks for $5, a quarter-length shirt for $1, buy one get one defective lingerie. Brianna filled her cart, one pretty piece for every second she felt alone at the dinner table. But when she tapped checkout, her dopamine hit was interrupted. There it was, in the top corner, her total, now multiplied. Her cheap-ass pants were suddenly marked up to the price of normal pants. Beneath the inflated amount was a disclaimer in yellow Comic Sans. Attention! Due to unforeseen issues, a higher total will be shown for each item at checkout. This will appear as a shipping fee, but it's definitely not because of tariffs. Those are only affecting other countries. This higher price is for something else. Don't question it. Brianna had smelled bullshit before. It smelled like home. And unfortunately for Temu, the drugs in her system weren't the kind that made you mellow. They were the kind that made you uniquely American.
Fuck you, tariffs! Fuck you, Ted Cruz! Fuck you, pants!
Brianna stood from the couch, hooked her thumbs into the waistband of her underwear and mom jeans, and yanked them to her ankles in one swift motion. With her legs now liberated, she grabbed her tote bag, packed with drug paraphernalia and rage, and descended upon America. Luckily for her righteous quest, Brianna didn't have to look far to find America. Her small town of Bussy, Iowa, had already lined the streets with American flags in preparation for the upcoming 4th of July. Just down the road from her driveway stood one of them, waving valiantly in the early evening breeze.
You want me to be an American? Like all of you? You want me to pretend it's okay for the president to demonize and talk down to over half the nation they're sworn to protect? Fine, I give in. Up is down, left is right, the fake news is the real news, and somehow eggs are down 90%, even though I'm paying more than I was before the election.
She took a deep breath.
I accept it. I'm proud to be an American.
With two corners of the ripped flag's hem, Brianna tied a knot and fastened it around her head. She did her best impression of a patriot, wearing red, white, and blue, being obnoxious, and showing her ass. Her carefree jaunt lasted exactly 1 block until another flag loomed over the next intersection. She tried to walk past, repeating her new mindless mantra, but as the fabric waved, a memory surfaced. In 1st grade, she was taught that Columbus discovered America. In 2nd grade, that was completely disproven. Her very first history lesson, rewritten.
My education and this country were founded on lies!
She yanked the nylon flag from its pole and threw it to the ground. As she bent over to dig through her tote bag, her bare ass pointed skyward, unintentionally mooning the moon.
This is not the country I pledged allegiance to in elementary school. And for that, I choose to protest.
The same lighter that had sparked her high now ignited something else. With a flick, she set the American flag ablaze, shaking her naked bits with purpose. She stuck out her tongue and roared in feminine rage, whipping her head around as if her hair were the flag now. From there, Brianna burned flags for every injustice she could name. She burned a flag for the people whose genders were being dictated by executive order. She burned a flag for the Secretary of Health and Human Services who spoke about autistic people like they were a societal blemish. And she reduced another to ash for everyone still questioning it. It was a night of bodily freedom and First Amendment fury.
Fascist fuck!
So it came as no surprise when the police eventually showed up.
Put the flag down!
One officer yelled, obscured behind the blinding police lights. Brianna dropped the flag at her feet, revealing to the officers she wasn't wearing skin-colored yoga pants.
Any chance you could, cover your...
Vagina?
Brianna shouted, still high on arson and unknown substances.
What's the matter, officer? Can't say the word? Are you little men afraid of a strong, natural woman?
The lead officer leaned toward his partner.
I mean, I am kind of afraid of a strong, natural woman.
Same.
His partner replied.
We should probably proceed with caution.
The lead officer squinted through the headlights.
Hey, before we come arrest you, what's your name?
Turd Merriweather.
Brianna shouted proudly. He turned back to his partner.
Yeah, that's definitely fake. Let's bring her in.
The officer struggled to contain Brianna's slippery, sweaty body as she flailed wildly, a tattered flag still tied around her head. She let out a guttural, liberated yell, then landed a clean hit to one officer's face. From there, the scuffle escalated. 2 grown men wrangled her like a greased-up piggy at a rodeo, finally forcing her into the back seat of the cruiser. She landed one last kick as the door slammed shut behind her. Inside, Brianna thrashed, her skin stuck and peeled with each squirm against the cruiser's hot leather until exhaustion set in. She slumped sideways, pressing her cheek against the window. Her breathing was heavy, each exhale fogging up the glass a little more. As the car pulled away and the officer settled into the front seats, all Brianna could see were blurred lights through the fog. Her eyes, swollen with defeat, scanned the smeared pane of glass. She raised a trembling finger and slowly wrote 3 letters into the condensation. U.S.A. In June 2025, Brianna Laird of Bussey, Iowa, was arrested after allegedly removing her pants, stealing multiple American flags belonging to the city, and setting them on fire in the middle of town. According to court documents, deputies arrived to find Laird wearing no bottoms and an American flag tied around her head. Upon being approached, she reportedly gave officers a false name and struck one deputy in the face while resisting arrest. After eventually being placed into the back seat of a patrol car, Laird allegedly kicked another deputy before being transported to the Marion County Jail. A search of her bag later revealed drug paraphernalia. Laird was charged with 3rd-degree arson, assault on a peace officer, indecent exposure, interference with official acts, 5th-degree criminal mischief, possession of drug paraphernalia, and 5th-degree theft. As of now, no public disciplinary actions or court outcomes have been announced. Doesn't that just make you angry? So much injustice. So many different emergencies hurled at us on an endless loop. There's no time to process any of it. The least a person can do is go bottomless in public and make a statement. Now, I don't know if Brianna did this as a protest in the same way I would have done it, but I really connected to the cause I assumed her to have. Unfortunately, for those of us on the bottom end of the income spectrum, we're stuck on defense. Complacency and silence just mean more will be taken for someone else's profit. One day, we'll be breathing in asbestos air fresheners and eating lead paint chips, casually asking each other when we first started experiencing rectal bleeding after every sneeze. If this story teaches you anything, I hope it's that you're not alone. Some part of this political situation is hitting all of us in a negative way. And I think we're all looking for hope and knowing that someone else feels it too. Whether it's a massive peaceful protest rebranded as a riot, or one pantsless woman lighting flags on fire in a small Iowa town, every revolution begins with a spark.
Can I just say, I loved playing Brianna's character.
I'm so glad you did.
And I can relate a lot because I am a powerful natural woman. I don't like what's going on in the country. And I have stolen many American flags in my day. So
I meant to build that up before the story started because I wanted to say that I can relate a lot to this character, but I think you can in a very unique way too.
Yeah.
Because she's like Patriot Poacher Ultra.
I know. Who knew all I needed to do is go pantsless and throw one on top of my head, and then maybe I would have made some headlines.
Maybe so. I think arson helps too.
Arson does help. Yeah, I wasn't burning them. I was just decorating my studio apartment, using them as curtains and shit like that. So, yeah, maybe that does. So glad that you squeezed the story in.
Me too. It's
so fitting. Perfect for the time of it all. So unfortunately relatable.
Yeah, maybe she was just high and thought burning flags would be fun.
Yeah, like I'm sure you connected a lot of dots and filled in the blanks how you wanted them to be, as we do, but I can't help but think just maybe, yeah, sure, she went a little crazy with it, but maybe she's one of us.
Yeah. For this story especially, I feel like the era of today and current events just had to be like its own character of the story pretty much. Whether this was political or not, you're burning flags, so it's going to be considered political.
And your ass is out, which I love.
Yeah, and they never said anything about finding the pants or anything.
I mean, if she really did buy some Temu pants, they belong in the trash, I'm sure. So,
yeah.
Dang, your gal got charged with a lot more crimes than my little teens lighting fireworks in the neighborhood, huh?
Yeah, for sure. But I was going to say our connection, jumping ahead a little bit, arson.
Arson.
You little guys had arson.
That's so true. Damn, we on fire this week.
Yeah.
Sure, your lady could have behaved better, but at some point, we're all going to lose it, right?
Yeah.
Like, we all have these meltdowns in life, and hers just happened to be drug-induced and in public.
Yeah. Mine was I took a week off for the show putting out a new episode. This woman pulls out her beeve and starts catching things on fire.
How random. And so it never said what drug she was on. It always was just unknown drug paraphernalia.
Yeah, it just had drug paraphernalia, which she did carry a bag around with her because she had the drug paraphernalia and she had her lighter that she was using to burn stuff, but just didn't wear pants or underwear.
It's overrated.
And she's 21, like young girl.
Honestly, at any age, that'd probably be the best time to do it, you know?
Your
I bet she has
phase.
a nice butt, probably still, you know? Once you get past the 20s. Okay, maybe that's just me. But I just really related to the story. I liked it. A lot of unfortunate truths sprinkled in, but it is where we are right now in today's age.
Yeah, I just really needed a vehicle to express myself in some way.
Yeah.
And this was perfect. I couldn't believe it happened 4 days ago.
I know.
I actually started writing this on Friday, which was the day of her court date. So I was writing it and just hoping, like, will there be an update?
Shit.
The new updates were just that they reached out to her lawyer on the day and they wouldn't say anything back. So I guess Iowa must just protect a little bit more of their information.
Damn, Iowa.
Maybe they're waiting and it'll be more viral by like 4th of July or something.
Ooh.
That could be something too.
'Tis the season.
Yeah, I think I might have caught this one a little early, which is probably good for how long it's going to take to get it out.
Yes, exactly. No, I love that you did that. I love you pushed this ahead. I love that we've never really totally covered a ton of 4th of July content, and that we're doing it this year of all years is kind of funny, but I just feel like it's a good time to try to make light of how absurd things are.
Yeah, this show was created because we wanted to give people who get upset from true crime cases something to listen to. And of course, this show's evolved so much to be about like our friendship and our production and our lives and stuff like that. But still, we want to be here to help through the hard times. And even if you're not listening to a heavy true crime podcast, I think we're all going through a hard time. And
yeah,
you just got to laugh.
If you don't laugh, you'll cry, is what I've been told. So we must. Well, I hope that everyone, whether you celebrate or not, if you're in this crazy country or if you're in another crazy country, wherever you are listening, I hope that you are just having the best week. And remember, no matter the crime, big or small, in the end, we are all doomed.
Doomed to cook, vomit, and inhale it.
God. Bye.
See ya.
If you can't stand the heat, get out of that long pool line and come on over to Patreon. Ad-free episodes and bonus content. More coming soon, I promise.
And do you also use the internet to scream into the void when you're feeling frustrated? Follow us there too. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or Threads. Live, Laugh, Larceny.
And have you ever ran pantsless through your town lighting things ablaze? If so, send us your petty crime story, livelaughlarceny@gmail.com.
And give our show the same rating you give Amanda's eyes for those diamonds. Give us 5 stars wherever you rate podcasts, Apple, Spotify, or Good Pods. I survived his first term, and it only ended in a plague that killed my grandma.
I should not laugh at that at all.